Good morning. It is 8:08 a.m. on Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. I think I had an extra "t" sound in there somewhere. I am Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, working from home today, which is why I was able to sleep in a little bit compared to a day where I had to go into the office. Um, but yeah, I'm doing all right. I yesterday finally finished catching up with the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I am pretty happy with that season and as a finale to that show. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a show that I have orbited a little bit in the sense that sometimes it's sort of I'm further away from it and sometimes I'm really close with it, but I always really like when I'm actively watching it, I'm always really enjoying it. But then I'll kind of just move away for a while and I'll not watch a season right away and kind of just let some time go by. But then when I make it back around again to watch whatever the latest season is, I really enjoy it. And that's kind of what happened with the final season. I just caught up. It's a little bit tricky to catch up on right now because the last season isn't yet on Disney Plus, and only half of it's on Hulu. Now, I had been recording it on my DVR, so I was able to watch the parts that are not on Hulu there. Uh, I think it was a really cool choice for for them to make the final season this sort of time travel nostalgia tour of a lot of the greatest hits of the past seasons, revisiting and remixing a lot of the previous things and visiting some eras of Shield that we hadn't really seen. It was really good stuff. Although I have to admit that there were times where I had to look stuff up on the wiki because I was like, okay, they're saying that name like it's a big deal. So who was that again? Oh, right. Okay. So he was the brother of that guy who, in the other timeline, just got sacrificed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got it now. And then I would remember, but yeah, there were times where I was like, "Oh, who is that? What? Hmm? Hmm?" Yeah, because it's been a while. This final season is season 7, and yeah, um, one of the things that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as a show always had to grapple with was its connection to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Early on, the whole promise of the show was that it was going to be this paired thing, like it was going to follow along with the movies and the two would cross over with each other. And of course, the big premise of it, the big sell right away, was that it had Coulson in it, who died in the Avengers, and it fundamentally was like used as a big emotional linchpin in that movie. Um, and so the first season especially had several little bits of crossover. We had Fury appear briefly. We had the Lady Sif from Asgard, the Thor movies, appear. There was the bit where the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. went in to clean up the mess in London that occurred after Thor 2 The Dark World. And then, of course, the big one was that in Captain America: Winter Soldier, when it's revealed that Hydra had infiltrated Shield and that whole thing, um, that obviously had a big impact on the show. But the disappointing element of those crossovers was that it became clear that the movies really had no interest in um, bringing anything from the TV show. It was always only going to be one way. So that's a little disappointing, especially just given the fact that once Coulson had been around and operating for a while, including some times where he was not being very secretive, it just started to feel tricky that, like, Captain America and Thor and Banner and all of them and Tony, like they wouldn't care. They wouldn't be interested to know that Coulson's back and around again. Like, is that not a? And so it just became this thing where everyone kept waiting to see if that was ever going to happen, and it really never did. So that was always a little bit awkward. And then, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. leaned hard into the whole Inhumans thing, which led up to the Inhumans TV show, which I'll confess I never actually watched. So but at the same time, I don't have the impression that the Inhumans TV show even really crossed over much with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Inhumans. And then, of course, that all kind of fizzled. And so I think at that point it really set the show free. Like it had always, I thought, succeeded on the charisma of its cast. We liked seeing this crew work together and solve problems, and the fact that they only peripherally connected to anything else wasn't a big deal. But then the show really kind of set itself free by increasingly having seasons be set, in virtual reality or in space or in an alternate timeline and all of that sort of thing. So it really just stopped making any sort of crossover connections a thing. Like, just didn't matter because. And so that really set the show free. And I just continued to really like that cast. You had some characters who came and went. Um, but a lot of the characters that sort of came in during middle seasons, but then stuck around, like Mac and Yo-Yo and Deke, and a lot of them really just became these fundamental parts. And I'll confess that, like, even Enoch, who is this like emotionless android, or taciturn, at least, not emotionless, but he has a very taciturn and cool way of speaking. And his involvement, like I teared up at a certain point with just what he's going through in his whole thing. And so just, I don't know, I was just very satisfied with the final season. I think that there was a little bit of wheel spinning in the last 4 or 5 episodes, were bits where it seemed like they're working really hard to delay revealing a certain bit of information that I feel like I guessed almost immediately and then was proven right when they finally did reveal it. But ultimately, I was not unhappy when they revealed it and I was right. I was like, yes, okay, finally. And it had a very nice, um, ever so slightly bittersweet ending, but mostly happy. And yeah, I'm very pleased with it. And so that's a wrap on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So will Marvel's newer TV projects cross over more? Well, we'll have to see. I mean, obviously, they're drawing things directly from the movies now, right? I guess if we're going to have Hawkeye, we're going to have Vision and Wanda and Winter Soldier and Sam Wilson, Captain America. But once those happen in TV, what do the movies do? I'm curious. I'm really curious how that's all going to play out. Because, like, the next Marvel movie to come out is, flashback. It's Black Widow's backstory stuff. So, what's the next thing moving forward in the future? Well, that's Eternals. So, it's all different characters. So, I'm curious. What's coming next? We'll have to see, I guess. In the meantime, I'll leave it there and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.